I want to welcome everybody to the 33rd Annual Student Life Achievement Awards. My name is Fabricio Mejia. I'm Assistant Director and Academic Counselor for Student Life Advising Services and the Educational Opportunity Program. That's a mouthful. So once again, I want to welcome y'all, and I want to start by bringing us back to why we're here. So we're here to honor 16 students for their outstanding academic achievement, community service, leadership, and overall what I call altruism, or what is defined as altruism. So I think I'll start by reading a quote from one of the recommenders that sort of speaks to the type of student that we're here honoring today. Why do we do what we do? I do not ask this as an existential question. I direct this query to the work I get up to face every morning as a student support professional at Berkeley. I want to believe that what I do is helping the state and the nation address the destructive educational and social inequities that continue to plague our communities. At the bureaucratic machine that is UC Berkeley, it is easy to feel discouraged, frustrated, mute, and invisible. In the face of this, ever so often I am reminded why I arrive at this campus every morning to start my day of service. It is the students, with their energy, honesty, and intelligence, that provide the compassion and commitment to tackle social injustice. It is the students, like blank, that reassure me that Berkeley's mission is not a hollow statement. It is the students, like blank, that inspire me to do what I do. So the reason I read that quote is that almost every year about this time, it's been a tough year for a lot of people at this institution and in California and in the country. And, you know, for student service professionals also at the end of the year, academic year, it's also a tough time where some of us are feeling burnout. But without fail, every year I get to read the stories and the work that these students are involved in. And without fail, every year, I get re-energized and re-inspired. So that is why we're here today, to honor these students that exemplify the mission of UC Berkeley. So now I want to invite Teresa Guerrero, who is our academic achievement, or who is our Achievement Award coordinator, to introduce you to our keynote speaker today.
Maria Echaveste, her parents came to the United States from Mexico with their 7 children. They worked as migrant farm workers in Texas during Maria's early years, and then moved to California, where they earned a living in the central and coastal valleys, picking cotton, strawberries, grapes, tomatoes, and carrots. Later, Maria would earn a scholarship to Stanford. Following her graduation in 1976 with a bachelor's degree in anthropology, she attended Bolt Law and earned her law degree in 1980. She then specialized in corporate litigation in Los Angeles and New York. From 1993 to 1997, Maria served as the administrator of the Wage and Hour Division of the Department of Labor. Under her leadership, Wage and Hour initiated an anti-sweatshop initiative, which received a 1996 Innovations in American Government Award. She left the Department of Labor to become Director of Public Liaison at the White House from February 1997 to May 1998, where she also developed communications, legislative, and public outreach strategies. From 1998 to 2001, she served as both Assistant to the President and Deputy Chief of Staff to President Bill Clinton. She managed Clinton's domestic policy initiatives on education, civil rights, immigration, and bankruptcy reform. She specialized in international issues related to Latin America. After leaving the White House, Maria co-founded the Nueva Vista Group, a strategic and policy consulting group that works with nonprofit organizations, associations, and corporations on such issues as immigration, healthcare, telecommunications, labor, and finances. She is also a lecturer at Bolt here at Berkeley. She's a member of the Executive Committee of the Democratic National Committee, a member of the Board of Directors of People for the American Way, the Children's Law Center of Washington, D.C., and CARE, a humanitarian organization fighting global poverty. I personally have had the good fortune of knowing Maria for the past 36 years. I met her when she was a wide-eyed undergraduate at Stanford. The reason I mention this is because she was so much like our award recipients here today. Bright, hopeful, and already committed to making a difference and contributing her talent and leadership to the service of others. So please join me in welcoming Berkeley's own Maria Chaveste.
I was wondering why she had to say what year I graduated from undergrad, and now I understand. It is true that we have known each other that long. It's really, really very, very nice to be asked to speak before they make the presentations to the award winners, to these students who I took a quick glance at their bios and what they're majoring in, what they want to do, where they're from, the things that they have been involved in while they've been here at Cal. And it just makes you so hopeful. Because one of the things when you can't really see all the white hairs, but when you have a few decades and you've been involved in a number of struggles, you start to lose a little bit of the momentum. For example, one of my clients is the United Farm Workers, the UFW. And particularly as the daughter of farm workers and knowing firsthand the experiences out in the field, the fact that there continues to be such a set of problems out in the fields after the efforts of Cesar Chavez and the UFW is incredibly, really disappointing. More than disappointing. It's a travesty. And yet, by looking at these bios and looking at what people have been involved in, these young people, I am confident that the next generation of leadership will be out there making a difference. And that's just so important. It's so important to give those of us hope for the future. Now, one of the things that I'm really struck by is just these awards are for academic achievement, leadership, and community service. And I think that's just, it sums up what's so important about talented young people like this. Because you can have really, really smart, bright people who are, academically stellar. And, God bless them, that's terrific, right? You can have people who are totally engaged in the struggle and trying to make a difference and volunteering and doing everything that they can do in their communities. Sometimes, what did someone say? Sometimes to the detriment of their academics. As someone who managed to spend a lot of time on that and then spent the last year at my college making sure I finished all my incompletes so I could graduate on time. Sometimes we get a lot of that too, right? But when you have some people, individuals who academic achievement and community service and leadership, that's such a wonderful combination. Now, I am also struck because in just reading about these young people, it does take me back to those moments when I was an undergraduate. And indeed, why I went to college as the first of my family, the eldest of 7, and having to really fight with my father about going to college. It wasn't that he was a bad person, it's just that his world vision with no education was, why do you have to go to college? Why does a girl have to get a university education? But even more than that was, by the time I got into Stanford, I was working at a grocery store. And as far as he was concerned, I was working in an air-conditioned place. That was better than the fields, right? It was, it was clean. And what he didn't understand was that, it was a minimum wage job. It was better than the fields, but it wasn't a path to doing more with my life. And he always would say, I just don't understand why you are so ambitious. Where did that come from? Who do you think you are that you should go do something other than what people do in our community. And I think that one of the things that I learned was I became a very avid reader at a fairly young age. And I mean, I read everything. If, you know, the house could be a mess and you're supposed to clean the house and they'd be like, where's Maria? Where's Maria? She's off in some corner reading a book. But what it did was really open my eyes to the possibilities of the world. That, in fact, my experience in Clovis, in a migrant camp, or in Oxnard, in La Colonia, in the housing projects, that wasn't all of the world. And the reason I share this story is that oftentimes, especially our honorees, as you achieve all the possibilities that you're capable of, you will find people who will ask you, how did you do it? Why did you do it? People are always looking for some explanation as to why you made it. And I've had that question asked of me from everybody from Secretary Bob Reich to when I took him to Fresno to meet with farm workers when we were protecting farm workers at the Department of Labor, and had him meet with farm workers, and on the plane home, he's like, how did you get from there to Stanford, right? Or Hillary Clinton, whom I've gotten to know, we had been on a board together in the mid-'80s. As she learned my story, would explain to me how you got, right? And sometimes I think that people want to find like that silver, like that one thing that if you just did this and made that possible for everyone, that everybody could achieve their potential. And what I have strived to do is to say, look, I know I'm smart, and you know you're smart, right? There will be people out there who will wonder if you are capable, but because of your academic achievement, you're going to be able to hold your head up high and know that you can compete in the toughest university, in the toughest environment, because you've done it. But it isn't just because you're smart, right? You've had opportunities. You had mentors. You had people who watched out for you. You applied yourself. And what drives me is that I know so many young people, when I was growing up, who I thought were smarter than I was, were more talented, but somehow maybe just couldn't quite get it together enough to think about college. Or maybe when they were in college, it was such a dramatic difference from what they experienced that they couldn't cope. And that's why when you go out and you start to pursue your careers, the fact that even here, while you were in college, you were connecting in community service. You were finding ways to give back. That is so impressive and really just something to applaud you, because you have not forgotten, and you will not forget the opportunity that you have, and understand that many, many other very talented young people may be left behind. And that is what is so amazing about an award ceremony like this, because you've struggled, you're achieving an education, and this is what I tell people when I fought with my dad, is the thing about an education is no one can ever take it away from you. Just think that no one can take that away from you. You may lose your job. Sometimes you have personal relationships that don't work out. I mean, we have a lot of living, right? But an education is something that no one can take away from you, and it prepares you. And it's just this tremendous asset. So you've struggled, you've achieved, and you've connected to your community. And I think that that is incredibly impressive, and I just want to congratulate you all, because as I started my little comments, it gives me hope for the future that our country and our world, right, because we're a global world, we're a global community. Many of you, I saw a couple of you, molecular cell biologists, science, rhetoric, law, political science. You're going to be making a difference, not just here in the Bay Area, not just in California, not just this world, but the planet. So I want to congratulate you all, and thank you very much for letting me speak to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. I'm going to ask Teresa to come up here and help me hand out the awards and greet our, over here. So now I get to introduce you to our 16 recipients. First, we're going to start with Erika Alfaro. And if I could have our awardees stand up here while I thoroughly embarrass you and talk about you. So Erika Alfaro is originally from Napa, California. She is a double major in Chicano Studies and Political Science. Compelled by her own experiences, Erika desires to become an immigration attorney to help immigrant families like her own. She hopes to be able to provide adequate legal resources to families that can avoid legal strains but do not know how. Erika believes that by continuing her education and becoming an immigration lawyer, she will become the change she wants to see in the world. Her leadership and community service activities include coordinator for Stiles Hall Mentoring Program, volunteer for Centro Legal de la Raza, intern for the Chicano Studies Department, and a member of the Latino Pre-Law Society. Erika Alfaro. And I also want to note that had I stood here, if I stand here and tell you everything that these students are involved in, we won't leave today. So we chose a couple of things to just give you an idea of what they're involved in, but it's by no means a complete list. Our next person, Veronica Canilao. Veronica is from Daly City, California. She is majoring in molecular cell biology with a minor in education. After graduation, Veronica plans to work as an educator in an underserved community. She finds it critically important that the problems in the education system are addressed and that students receive the utmost quality education possible. After a few years in education, Veronica plans to decide on her plans for a medical career. Her leadership and community service activities include SAT instructor at the East Bay Consortium, Precollegiate Academy, and People's Test Preparation Service, co-coordinator and mentor of the Southeast Asian Mentorship, college advisor intern to the EAOP program, tutor at the Bears United in Literacy Development, also known as BUILD. Veronica Canilao. Mario Carroll. Mario Carroll is from Sacramento. He is double majoring in political science and rhetoric. After graduating, Mario plans to attend law school and pursue a joint master's degree in business, public policy, or poli-sci. He plans to practice law while at the same time pursuing opportunities that allow him to become more involved in politics. Mario is committed to public service and providing opportunities for underserved communities. His leadership and community service activities include Assistant Program Manager for Sports and Math Academy Program through the M3 Foundation, tutor and mentor at Longfellow Middle School, intern for the Office of Senator Dianne Feinstein, and co-executive director for CalCamp. Mario Carroll. Alvaro Casanova. Alvaro Casanova is from Thousand Oaks, also known as TO. He is majoring in Society and Environment in the College of Natural Resources. After graduating, Alvaro plans to start his graduate program at the University of California, San Diego, where he will be pursuing a master's in marine biodiversity and conservation. His career goals are to work with coastal indigenous communities throughout Latin America on issues of policy, conservation, and transnational environmental injustices. Because of his career goals, he also plans on returning to Cal and pursuing a PhD in either ethnic studies or society and environment. His leadership and community service activities include a teaching assistant for the Environmental Leadership Pathways, Raza Recruitment and Retention Center transfer coordinator, a tutor and mentor for BUYA, B-U-Y-A, Berkeley United Youth in Action, and ecology field researcher in Costa Rica and Panama. Alvaro Casanova. Eliasar Chacha. Eliasar is from Richmond, California. He is double majoring in African American Studies and Interdisciplinary Studies with a minor in Education. After graduation, Eliasar plans to conduct research on issues that interlink international cultures and our domestic policy. He desires to use his research as his platform to obtain a joint JD and PhD in African American Studies. As a law professor and future senator, he plans to use his influence to advocate for more inclusive policymaking. Eliasar's leadership and community service activities include an undergraduate fellow for the Mellon Mays Foundation, vice president of the Black Pre-Law Society, co-facilitator of Ed 198B, Current Issues in Education, and a resident assistant for Unit 2, Eliasar Chacha. Ada Cheng. Ada is from San Francisco, California. She is majoring in molecular cell biology. After graduating, Ada plans to become a physician. She plans to utilize the skills and experiences she has had working in different communities throughout her trajectory at Cal in her profession. She is devoted to help treat, listen, and communicate to the underserved while making sure she improves and individualizes the quality of healthcare. Her leadership and community service activities include an active member of the Biology Scholars Program, volunteer for the Global Medical Brigade, volunteer for the Suitcase Clinic, and an organizer for hepatitis B awareness. Ada Cheng. Perla Flores. Perla is from Los Angeles, California. She is majoring in Spanish and bilingual issues and is also pre-med. After graduating, Perla plans to work with underrepresented and immigrant communities, gaining experience so one day she will be able to create policies that improve the health of people in those communities, particularly for women of color. Eventually, she plans to get a master's degree in public health with an emphasis on health and social behavior. Her leadership and community service activities include organizer for AB 540 students Reaching Our Dreams Conference, volunteer for Women of Color Dialogues, an intern for the Multicultural Immigrant Student Program, and a facilitator for the Know Your Rights workshop. Perla Flores. Esther Green. Esther Green is a local from Oakland. She is majoring in Spanish. After graduating, Esther plans to enter a joint degree in public policy and law. She wants to return to her community and help as an advocate for just social policy. Her leadership and community service activities include peer advisor for the Student Parent Association for Recruitment and Retention, a mentor for UC Berkeley Starting Point program, a mentor for Stiles Hall Experience Berkeley, and an intake caseworker for Alameda County Social Services Agency. Esther Green. Christina Lau. Yeah. Christina wasn't able to make it today, but I'm just gonna read about her anyway and let you know what she did. Christina Lau is an Asian Studies major with a focus on China. Christina plans on continuing her work as a language trainer, providing resources and guidance to help Chinese English language learner students to achieve their goals. She also plans on expanding the nonprofit organization that she has founded, which helps Chinese immigrants in Mexico and provides them necessary resources. Her goal is to help Chinese immigrants who are under-resourced find equity in the diaspora. Her leadership and community service activities include a tutor for the STARS tutoring program, a founder of the China-Mexico Connected, language trainer for Treasure Island Job Corps, and a researcher for the Ronald E. McNair Scholars Program, Christina Lau. Ruth Legacy. Ruth is originally from Los Angeles, California. She is a double major in sociology and integrative biology. After witnessing the harsh realities of sickness in children internationally, Ruth desires to be a pediatrician. Her goal is to continue to probe the health issues in her community and how environmental factors affect children directly. Her desires to attend medical school are grounded within her desires to prevent health disparity and to fight for medical equality. Her leadership and community service activities include the Vice President of the Eritrean Student Union, Community Health Worker Coordinator, Mentor for Build, and a mentor for Berkeley Scholars to Cal, Ruth Legacy. David Moore. And accepting on his behalf his wife and his daughter. David Moore is from Albany, California. He is majoring in environmental science policy and management. After graduating, David plans to pursue a career in public health and preventative medicine in order to decrease the overwhelming health disparities in underrepresented and underserved communities domestically and internationally. His leadership and community service activities include facilitator for Starting Point Mentorship Program, facilitator for Dad's Club at UC Berkeley, student mentor and reader for ESPM 90, and a co-facilitator for Adult Learners in Higher Education course. David Moore. Daniel Mora. Daniel also joins us locally from Oakland. He is majoring in ethnic studies. After graduating, Daniel plans to continue to be an example of change and inspiration through youth advocacy and his performing. He will continue to perform with Brown Buffalo, a group that he co-founded. His leadership and community service activities include a youth leader for Youth Uprising through AmeriCorps, organizer for Homeboy Goes to Harvard, which is an organization that raises awareness through motivational speaking and issues related to gangs, drug addiction, and self-esteem. Planning and facilitating workshops to foster community leadership and activism, and he's also a rap artist, which he's been referred to. His art has been referred to as edutainment. So he's an educator through his art, where he provides cultural insights to life as a Latino and insights about the root causes of violence in the community, which he is so familiar with. Daniel Mora. Joanna Tran. Joanna is from Rosemead, California. She is majoring in molecular cell biology. After graduating, Joanna plans to focus her education on healthcare and medical research. She is contemplating becoming a health volunteer for the Peace Corps to educate and promote awareness throughout third world countries. She wants to take on as many experiences and challenges that will prepare her for medical school on the road to one day becoming a practicing gynecologist. Her leadership and community service activities include volunteer for Highland Hospital, a research assistant for Professor Wally Wang, member of United for Sight, and a student employee for UC Berkeley's Financial Aid Office. Joanna Tran. Octavio Velez. Octavio is originally from West Covina, California. He is a gender and women's studies major. After graduation, Octavio will seek a PhD in gender and women's studies, focusing on the work and health of indigenous women. He then plans to return to the educational system as a teacher and inspire students from his community to dream and to organize. Octavio strives to make society a better place for his daughter. His leadership and community service activities include House Advisor for Casa Joaquin Murrieta, Intern for the Chicano Latino Student Development Office, Resource and Information Associate for the Transfer Reentry and Student Parent Program, and Coordinator for El Frente Indígena Binacional, Octavio Velez. So before I move on to recognizing our two Morrison Johnson Award recipients, I first want to ask the parents and family members to stand up.
Of all of you.
Of any of the recipients, parents and family members, please stand up. The reason why we applaud you is that we know that the time that your student, your child, your brother, your sister is putting in, your wife, significant other, is putting into their community work, we know that it has an impact on you. We know that it's time away from you, but we also want you to know that we really appreciate the fact that they're able to be leaders through the different ways that they're able to do their work. And so thank you very much for the family and friends. So we want to move on to our first Morrison Johnson Distinguished Award winner, Maya Shupak. Maya is originally from Santa Clara, California. She is majoring in Peace and Conflict Studies. After graduating, Maya plans to continue to apply her values of justice, integrity, and perseverance in her quest to find solutions to reverse a system that she feels oftentimes works against us. Her overall objective is to continue working on human rights and civil liberty issues, either as an advocate or representative for the communities she cares about. Maya will create a legacy fighting against injustice and inequality in the U.S. and abroad while providing greater opportunities for all. Her leadership and community service activities include an intern for Board Supervisor Chris Daly, organizer for Berkeley Stop the Traffic, La Raza Law Journal Fellow, volunteer for Centro Legal de la Raza, organizer for PAC Student Participation Council, and a facilitator for the Controlling Processes Practicum. Maya Shupak. I also want to invite Maya to say a few words.
All right. Well, I was asked by Teresa before I came here to have some words written down, but I wasn't able to do that. First, I just want to acknowledge everyone who's here, especially the recipients, especially those who support the recipients and family. I'm really, really impressed. And I feel like I don't deserve this, but I'm not going to let myself go there because we all deserve this. One of the things that really drives me is my legacy, is my heritage. My parents are both immigrants into this country. And I always felt this drive for education, that I had to get an education, whatever that looked like. And then part of that was this idea of giving back to my community, but also communities outside my community. And that just means that we are all a community. More specifically, my background is that I'm Jewish, and I'm also identify as Latina. And for me, there's a lot of history of diaspora. And for me, that largely means human rights. And what I am dedicated to and what I'm committed to doing is not only being a human rights activist, but more specifically, I want to stop human trafficking. And for me, this is something that drives me. I know exactly what I want to do, and I didn't realize it until I got to Berkeley, oddly enough. I came to Berkeley because I chose this university because I I loved the history that we had. And granted, I was a little disappointed. You know, I wanted to have a little bit more protest, less bureaucracy, but that's okay. That comes with the practice, the situation. That being said, that's just reality in many ways. That's what we're gonna have to face. And so this university really, really taught me a lot. It taught me to really look deep down inside myself to know and see exactly what I can do, what I'm capable of, what I'm supposed to do. And I know all of you guys, everyone here, even if you didn't go to Berkeley, that's totally cool, that we, through our education, through our service, and education can mean anything. It doesn't mean just a university degree. We find out who we are. And if we're committed to finding out who we are, then that's what's worth living. Because the moment we commit to that, we can create any possibility that we want. And this is something that I want to echo from what Ms. Echeveste said. And I totally believe this. What I learned here in Berkeley is I can do anything, anything. I don't care about this economy. I can do anything. So that's what I'm committed to, and I encourage all of you guys to do the same. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Maya. Our next Morrison Johnson recipient, Rashida Woodard. Rashida is from South Central Los Angeles. She is double majoring in African American Studies and Ethnic Studies. After graduation, Rashida plans to enroll in a pre-medical post-bac program, after which she plans to attend medical school and eventually complete her residency. Rashida desires to become an OBGYN who will provide adequate health care to underserved women of color in South Central LA. Rashida firmly believes that everyone should have the right to a family doctor whom patients can trust and relate to, as well as someone who cares about their culture and community. Ultimately, Rashida's passion lies in her desire to return to her community and make it a better place for the generations to come. Rashida's leadership and community service activities include a South Central Gifted Scholar, a note taker for the Disabled Students Program, lead copy editor, managing editor, and staff writer of the Onyx Express magazine, staff administrator and volunteer at the Prison Outreach Project, volunteer camp counselor at Cal Camp, tutor at FACES, and a writing and social science tutor for the Student Learning Center. Rashida Woodard.
Hello, everyone. So I don't know if anyone can see, but my heart is on the outside of my chest right now. I don't do well with speaking in public. But I want to thank everyone for being here and for everyone who wasn't able to make it to support you all and myself. I want to begin my speech off with the idea that she spoke about of being ambitious. And when I was a child, when people would ask me what I wanted to be when I grew up, I would always say I want to be a doctor in the morning, a dentist in the afternoon, and an ambulance helper at night. So that kind of goes to this idea of ambition and understanding what it is that you want to do when all the odds are clearly against you. So as a healer, as a developing scholar, as an educator, as an activist, as an advocate for students of the communities that I support, as well as my own communities, I'm extremely honored to receive this prestigious award in the name of scholars and activists who have supported students just like me. I have worked extremely hard to make distinguished grades in both my African American Studies and Ethnic Studies majors, as well as my pre-med curriculum. I mention this because in addition to the mentorship programs that I do, the peer advocacy programs that I do, the student advocacy programs and empowerment, especially for women of color that I do, especially queer women of color that I do and that I focus on, in addition to all of this, I am still able to excel in my grades. And this is fundamentally a part of my activism, because I'm able to show the students that look like me that you can succeed in this school, even though very often you're shown that you can't. Although very often you have barrier after barrier after barrier that tells you that you can't, that forces you that you can't. And so I wanted to make sure that it's, like she said, it's very important to understand that as being a scholar is not just in the books. Education does not just take place in classrooms, but it takes place outside in the communities that you work with and that you advocate for. It takes place going back to your communities and advocating for your communities and helping your families. And health is so important to me through this, because I've watched my family, especially the women in my family, their health deteriorate from being everything for everyone. And so this is why I want to be an OBGYN. This is why I want to focus on women's health, because I feel like in order to help and create and advocate for our communities, we must focus on the women, because I feel like we create and we maintain and we pass on culture and we pass on to our kids what is important. And so for me to be an OBGYN is also fundamentally a part of my advocacy and a part of my activism. And I thank you all for giving me this award, and thank you all for being here. So.
I don't know about you all, but I think she could speak pretty well. Thank you, Rashida. So before I close, I want to acknowledge some people in the audience. So first, our director of /EOP, Gloria Burkhalter. Gibor Basri, Vice Chancellor for Division of Equity and Inclusion. Barbara Davis, Associate Vice Chancellor, Division of Equity and Inclusion. Our representatives from the University Section Club, Sonia Velez, Julia Wank, and Janice Liu. Our partners in financial aid, Jan Williams, Joan Kemp, and Corazon. They're the ones that get you paid, so. Also, the professors and letter of recommendation writers who are here. I see Professor Sanders right here. He's one of the recommenders. Thank you very much. And last but not least, I'd like to recognize the committee, Nate Carroll. Roseanne Fong. Teresa Guerrero, who's also the coordinator. Laura Jimenez. Cruz Grimaldo, also in the financial aid office. And our peer coordinator, Oscar Mairena. And last but not least, our staff, the counselors, and the peer advisors for helping put on this event. Thank you very much. So in closing, I couldn't have said it better than Rashida. I think the type of student that you saw before you is the type of student that clearly came across in the applications. And sometimes that's difficult for our students to do because they're very humble and they do what they do not because they want to be recognized, but because it's their life's passion, it's their life's work, it's important to them. They've seen their family and their friends struggle. They've seen their communities that need them. So it's more of why wouldn't you do it? So it's very hard for us to sometimes get these very students to apply to these awards because they say, well, it's kind of embarrassing that I'm being recognized when all these other people around me are so incredible. But the reason we do this is because we see you. We acknowledge your work. You are incredible. You do great work. And as embarrassing as it is for you to be up here and to receive accolades and praise, it's important that we positively reinforce that in our communities. All right. So with that said, I want to thank you all, and please join us for food and refreshments. Thank you.